Hello and welcome to the Sacred Light Collective podcast. You are with Ali. Hello and welcome again, dear friends. I am so grateful to share this space with you as I have tuned into what my heart desires to share this week, and there's been so much on my heart. There has been such an expanding process within and following on really from the post eclipse energies and this opportunity to really meet ourselves, isn't it? To meet ourselves more deeply at this time. And for me personally, I am going to share a little bit vulnerably what has unraveled, and I use the term unraveled because that is what it feels like is occurring. And in fact, there'd been a bit of an image that my guides had been showing me, or I'd been seeing myself as if I was bandaged, like a mummy, I guess. And then there were moments throughout the week, particularly like as I was in bed going to sleep, where I could feel the unraveling of these bandages. I could feel more unbinding of myself. And why it feels like an unbinding is I had this process unfold this week, and I was led to meet the higher version of myself, desiring to step forward at this time. And what took me by surprise was that my current self, in this presence of this beautiful, radiant, embodied, in her inner authority and her expression, just this effortless ease and such a warmth about her. I felt really fearful about meeting her and about allowing her in. And in fact, the image that I kind of saw of myself or felt of myself was peering behind a wall, like looking at her and not wanting to really see her. And as I explored that a little more deeply, I found myself deep within a cave, deep in a part of myself that I didn't even know existed. And I was not wanting to come out of that cave. And then over the coming days of kind of exploring that a little bit more, it was really interesting to tap into how much I had been hiding from myself, not just the world, not just from life, but I had been hiding from myself. And for those who've been following me throughout my journey will know there's been a lot of talk and action with me coming into really allowing myself to be seen and to be out into life and the world. And here was this deeper piece, this shadow part of me that was hiding, and that's what's been sort of holding me back from really being able to transform in the way that I've been desiring. And there was a lot of grief that came up around that. There was a lot of frustration, regret. You know, the ego took me through all of those gamut of emotions, but I really tried to keep at least some contact with that higher version of me, my higher self, and just I was constantly asking her for her support on how to navigate this because I really, really really want to move through this. And I can feel that this is what my journey, particularly this year, has been building to. And so in this frame of like allowing for the change and the transformation to occur, I am trying to be more open in allowing the experiences to come through, because the first kind of opening, it was actually so interesting. I think it was 24 hours after I recorded the last episode. I had this huge realization of how I was stuck in this responsive reactivity to life, and how much that overshadowed my day-to-day life, like how I was showing up and how I was feeling, and how that was almost the block, some of that resistance to me being the person that I desire to become. And so it was super interesting then to have this experience, to meet the fact that the reactivity was coming from this place that was deeply hidden within me, and to continue to be curious with that, to not allow my mind and my ego to pull me into stories, to pull me into the narratives, to keep me stuck in that cave, to keep me hidden in that cave. So I was gently seeking this advice and this support from my higher self, and the key words that kept coming through were to honor self through this process. And that had me looking at this whole experience a little bit differently, kind of holding it in my hand. And I've spoken through guided journeys around that with you on this podcast as well. But being able to just sort of hold it and to see it and to feel it without actually needing it to mean anything more than that, to be curious with that. Because with the acknowledgement and the awareness now of this being in reactivity to life, and needing to allow life and the experience of life to meet me and to move through me, and just to come and go, a bit like the wave, right? Using the analogy of the ocean wave coming and going. That is how I sat in the energy of this uncomfortableness and the resistance, the fear that was coming up around this recognition of just how much I've been hiding myself, and hiding myself away from me. So, stepping into this flow and allowing and honoring of self had me shaking up my routine a little bit, and so I felt the guidance to move my body every day, to be more focused on what I was nourishing and fueling my body with, and not skipping meals or not grabbing something just in between and being on the go, but really planning to nourish and fuel my body. To even really thinking about uh, what I was wearing. Like, I became very conscious of colors this week, and I'm someone that wears a lot of black. And I guess that is also, as I'm saying that now, I'm recognizing why that's a color that we can hide behind, isn't it? But yeah, I was becoming more aware and making some choices around outfits that I wouldn't normally wear because I would want to hide myself. So interesting how it was showing up in so many different ways. And I sort of found myself going all the way back to 6, 7 years old and recalling this experience that I had in the schoolyard, which seems really simple now, where I had this beautiful red backpack that I was so proud of. And a particular boy took a dislike to my red backpack, and he made a lot of fun of me and dragged other people in, or other students in, on that. And while I only recall that incident occurring once, from that time forward, what I do remember was hiding my backpack, not wearing it with pride. I would turn it around. I would like hug it into my chest, and I would stuff it under other bags. And I would, exit the classroom really quickly at the start and the end of the day. And, you know, even as I'm speaking into that now, I'm really holding compassion for my 7-year-old self in that, because she didn't know that that was having such a powerful impact on her, and how that would begin to shape her. Because prior to that, I don't have any recollection of fear. If anything, I recall being, shy in some ways, as most children are, but not in this way of wanting to become invisible, not wanting, wanting the to blend into the background, to camouflage myself. And so it's been interesting with holding of that and observing about how that has created and shaped me across my life, and holding that without any regret, or any, without too much sadness. I did allow myself to grieve this somewhat, because I feel like that this part of me that's hiding needs to release and feel a lot of that sadness. And as I speak to you in this now, I'm only just scratching the tip of the iceberg on this. There's a lot here to be unpacked, but this is part of this slow and steady change, and really why my heart wanted me to open to share with you what I am journeying through, and the specifics really I guess may not be relevant or resonate with what you're experiencing, but the process of allowing it to be there, about sitting in this uncomfortableness of new awareness, sitting in any resistance that builds up, and then noticing what other experiences are coming up around that. And as I was journeying with this week, as I said, the first thing that sort of I noticed was the thinking about the clothing I was wearing, and I chose to wear a dress that I'm normally not super comfortable in, and I recognized that was because I didn't feel covered up. I wasn't feeling hidden. And so it was allowing me to experiment with choosing some different outfits day to day, and just allowing myself to start to begin to become comfortable. You know, this is such a silly little example, but was so profound. Left the house to go for a walk, and I got halfway down my driveway, and I realized I'd forgotten my sunglasses, which I normally always wear. And in that moment, there was the instinct was to turn around to go back and grab them, because I didn't want to go out without my glasses on, because it felt like I could hide behind them. It felt like I became invisible behind a pair of sunglasses. And so I stood there for a moment and just talked myself through it and said, no, you can do this. You can go for your walk, and you can feel free. You don't have to be hiding behind the glasses. It was almost like giving myself a little bit of a pep talk, and then kind of saying, nope, you're going to do this. You're going to go and walk without them. And the amazing thing was that it was such an opportunity to really connect with the world. I mean, I didn't even really pass that many people, but even just connecting with nature and just feeling this different openness with the world around me, and really making the effort to make eye contact with anyone that I passed. And even if I didn't feel like I could say hello, I tried to smile. I tried to invite in this connection of being seen, rather than, typically just walking past in my own little invisible bubble, I would feel, and try to really engage. And it was so interesting to notice, like when I could feel my body language shift, or like when I wanted to cover up my heart and close up a little bit, and I would take a breath, and I would just open up my chest and walk with my head held high, and just keep saying to myself, I'm okay, and really owning that I was uncomfortable. Yes, there was resistance in my body. Yes, but I was also safe. I was okay. And these are these little moments, taking these little small incremental pockets of change and action. That is where the growth occurs, and that is where you start to begin this foundation, and rewiring your connection to that feeling that the brain and the body has, that is creating this unsafe, this hyper vigilance or hyper stimulation through the nervous system and the body. And then we learn to become comfortable, don't we, with change. We learn to see that change doesn't have to be feared. And I share this even though I know these kind of seem silly and strange, and um, yeah, and I feel such a vulnerability around that. I am holding myself in this very moment in sharing this story with you. That little part of me, I can tell you, that's in the cave, she's embarrassed, and she doesn't want to share this with you. She doesn't want, to be seen in this. She just wants to slink by and like be invisible, to go under the radar, to be the camouflaged version. But then I have my beautiful radiant higher self, who is not stepping 1 inch away from me either. She's here in equal parts and equal measure, giving me the support, the courage, the strength to just step by step keep going, keep going. I've tried to record this podcast 3 times, or maybe actually even 4. This could be the 5th time if I make it through this. because keep cringing. I keep cringing, but see the power of me just sticking with it and coming back with it and just sharing that with you. And I hope that if nothing else comes out of this, that this frequency that I'm sharing and this energy that I'm sharing about being okay to be with what is uncomfortable and what is we're in resistance to, and allowing small action steps. And as you can see, it's like every day there's something, like there's been something for me every day. And I am embracing and allowing, instead of reacting, embracing and allowing these experiences to occur, because I know they are here, because I called in the desire for change and transformation. And you are here. You are walking this path with me because you are calling in change and transformation. And what we have to remember is that when we're on that path of seeking change, transformation, that we are going to have these uncomfortable experiences. We're going to encounter pockets of resistance within ourselves, because it's in those moments is where we're creating the shift and the transformation. And so I feel like what I'm learning through this last eclipse season, or this eclipse season, is also to not allow those energies to overwhelm me or to become so heavy that I can't see my way through. And this is what I want to invite you into this. Perhaps for you, it's understanding, where are you in this reactivity to life and life's experiences? Where can you allow that to come through a little bit more? Because as I said to you, that was kind of where I started. And then a day or two later, I opened into this experience of really meeting myself at a depth I haven't ever before. And an awareness of being in this cave, and an awareness of this part of me, and opening to that, allowing. And these little experiences of, the choosing of clothing, the walking without my sunglasses, the recording of this podcast. And what's really brewing is like to really come back into the social media space. I have not given my social media platforms much love at all. And it's really kind of taking the gentle steps and allowing things to unfold, to get back into creation, because I feel like the resistance jams me up on all fronts. And so if I continue moving with this mantra and this intention of allowing myself to move with life, to receive life, the experiences of life, rather than being reactive, I have opportunity to sit with it with a little more lightness, with a little more ease, curiosity. And that's my other invitation, is to look at this with some curiosity of like, why is this coming up? What is this what's coming forward here? Where is it coming from? And you're not digging for anything. You're just lightly, curiously asking the question and allowing it to come to you. Because it might be something that is coming through from your inner child or your inner teen. It might be something that's stuck in an emotional pocket, and it could be something that just wants to be seen. It doesn't need to, there's no action or no healing, quote unquote, that needs to occur, but it's just seeing that and witnessing that. And as I said, it's been interesting for me as an experiment to observe how, once I became aware of being reactive, stepped into allowing and embracing and acknowledging and feeling, let's not forget feeling, which we spoke a lot about last episode, and how that it just came forward for me. And I didn't have to dig, it just was showing up. And when I looked at the experiences life was showing me, rather than pushing against the resistance and allowing it in and saying, okay, well, what is here for me? What are you showing me here? What is here for me to see, to know, to feel, to accept? to acknowledge, and then just allowing that cycle to continue to flow. And I've had a lot of conversations. It's been so wonderful to have a lot of the community, a lot of you to reach out and just, tap in with some questions, or what you're moving through with, and also just see what clients are bringing through, and even, just talking to my friends, just really connecting to this very similar theme, where life is really showing us at the moment the areas that are looking to be brought to light. And so, you might feel something as you're listening to this now. You might know what it is for you. And I would just invite you to allow it to come forward, allow yourself to feel it, and allow yourself to connect to what the experience is desiring to show you, where it's pointing you to. Because so much of the reactivity occurs because the brain and the body are stimulated by these experiences, by the subconscious patterns and programming that we have built upon. So, using, my 7-year-old self and the experience she had, everything is just that elicited a similar feeling or reaction in me across my life from that time has created this database of information, where anything that feels remotely like that, my brain triggers from the survival response, from the amygdala, and says, okay, there must be a fear, there must be threat or danger here, because it's such a black and white response. And so bringing the awareness to it, of saying, well, hang on a minute, my life is not actually in physical danger here. There is no life or death threat. Yes, this is a fear. What is the fear here, and how can I meet this fear, and how can I bring it into the light, into truth? Like, what is true here? How can I bring it back into the love of my heart? And sometimes this work, you can be moving with the same sort of pattern repetitively over, most of your life. Like, I feel like there's certain things that I will probably be evolving with for the rest of my life. But there are other elements where it feels like you can work through that process, and then that feels really soft and complete. But ultimately, what you're working towards here is creating space for choice, creating space with, how am I going to choose to respond? So, for the very beginnings of this journey, we want to create the space before the reactivity occurs, before the reaction occurs. And so, by doing the work in this more conscious way, intentional way, and allowing and noticing that what reactivity looks like for you and how you react, enables you to create a bit more conscious awareness to the moment of creating the space for a pause and being able to make a choice. Because, of course, we need the aspect of the brain, the amygdala. We need that survival response, because, of course, if you're crossing the road and a bus comes up, flying up, you want to be kicked into gear to run, to get out of the way, because there's danger there. So we want to befriend all parts of the mind, right? We're talking about the conscious mind, unconscious, subconscious mind, and also the effect that that has through the body, and the effect that our energy has on all of that, and our subconscious has on all of that. So there's so many layers here. And that is why the slow and steady, the incremental change, the taking, the small steps every day, the choices that you're making every day, will all build this foundation. And I've had a lot of conversations this week with people about remembering that this is a journey. like I said, for me, I'm just scratching the surface of this awareness this week. I am certainly not, integrating that, let alone embodying that. I still have a lot more work that's going to come through. There's a lot more experiences. Life will show me how I can keep bringing that part of myself into the love and the light within my heart. So there's no rush. There's no ticking it off and moving on. And that's something too, that it's about getting the mind on board to this idea that it's okay to be in the uncomfortable. It's okay to be in resistance. A couple of sessions I've had this week, the client it's come up with, there's so much resistance about something that it feels like it doesn't want to move, it doesn't want to shift, it's not ready to let go. And I've said that's okay. We're not here to force anything, we're not here to push through anything. We want to just understand why that's happening. There's more here for you to see, there's more here for you to bring to your awareness, to bring to the light. And there's also this element of divine timing, where there's space for you to sit in that and to receive more. And that's, for me personally, I feel like that's where I am at the moment. Like in scratching the tip of this cave, this hidden part of me, that there is an opportunity for me to sit in the resistance, the uncomfortableness, all of the feelings, to sit in all of those feelings. And, I can even feel my heart opening to that as I share that with you, because that's all that is being asked of me at the moment, is allowing. I'm allowing this experience to be there. I'm allowing myself to be in the uncomfortable, as frustrating as that may be. I'm allowing it to occur. And that is where powerful tools like using the breath, taking time to be with my breath and to really move my breath through my body to support my mind and my body with a nice long exhale with every breath, bringing back some balance to the nervous system, to the stress response, the survival response, grounding me, connecting me more to my body, to my heart, to my soul, to the earth, moving my body. I'm just trying to walk every day and just connecting to movement, to also allow, right? Allow and flow and ease. And as I said too, nourishing my body and knowing that there's that rest is needed. Rest is needed. And what's super interesting is that I've really been craving rest, but my mind has been telling me I haven't got too much to do, and that I haven't been doing enough, or you must be doing something else. You can't just sit and be still and rest. And that, my friends, is always my sign that I know that rest is most needed. So maybe be aware where you can hear the mind telling you to keep going, or that you're not doing enough, or that you need to be busy, because that is a signal that the body is desiring rest, but the mind doesn't want to let you let go. So again, just, that's a great tip of observing where the mind creates the resistance, where the mind wants you to not do something because it's in that self-protection mode, because it feels like that's outside of its comfort zone, its comfort space. That comes into that perceived threat and danger space. So it's eliciting a response. But can you sit with that? Can you be with that and still rest, or take the action, or wear the different outfit, or say yes to that opportunity, or say no to that opportunity, whatever it might be. But breathing is most important, connecting to your breath. And, there's many breathwork practices and facilitators that you can connect to if that's what your heart is calling to you. But my suggestion, is just the bare minimum, is setting the timer on your phone for 5 or 10 minutes, and, just breathing in from the belly to the top of the chest, and then breathing that exhale, taking it all the way down the length of the body, right down and out through the soles of the feet. And if you can do that outside in nature, even better. And the more you do that, the more you practice that, the more that your body and your brain will respond to the signal of that long exhale and will assist to reset your nervous system and bring you more into the body, bring you more into your heart and into the present, where you can make those choices, where you can feel into what is true and aligned and what is coming from love and not from fear. So, my beautiful friends, thank you so much for sharing another episode with me, for holding space for me as I share what is, deeply, vulnerably on my heart at the moment. And I look forward to sharing more of this journey together. As always, the light, the love, the divinity within me honors the light, the love, the divinity within you. Namaste.